I think every day you're just trying to, stack the bricks and keep getting better. That's what training camp's all about.
Your teammates have said that you throw the deep ball better than they expected. Is that something you just never had a chance to really show off?
Well, I just try to do what I'm coached to do. I think you go back to the year I was with Kyle, I think we led the league in, yards per completion or something like that. So it depends on what offense you play in. Some offenses like to, only take shots here or there. I think Kyle has made it, pretty apparent we want to get big plays. So he's going to call them, and then it's our job to hit them. So, you just try to do what's coached to you, and depending on what system you're in, that's what you got to do. But I've always loved to throw the ball deep, even going back to high school. I mean, who wouldn't want to? You know what I mean? So.
Marquise Goodwin said he's evolving as a receiver, and he's not just a deep guy. How much have you seen him change from that standpoint, and how much did that 3-day session you guys had in Texas?
Yeah, he's been awesome. I think the one thing about Marquise, for me, other than knowing that he had been in the Olympics and he was really, really fast, that's what I kind of knew about him when he came here. And then he got here, and you can just tell that, they only use him to go deep, and no one really ever coached him. And I think he's taken that coaching really well, and he's worked his butt off towards it too. I could tell a difference from when we left in June till we went and got there in Dallas. We worked those 3 days. I could tell he'd been working at it, and I can tell that he worked at it from when we left in Dallas till now, and it's paying off for him. I think the one good thing, the good decision he made was to come here, because Kyle knows how to use guys like that, and he's willing to put the work in, and he's done a great job.
Carlos Hyde's run.
That was awesome. That's another guy I didn't really know much about, other than he went to Ohio State, because I'm from Ohio. You kind of in Big Ten, you watch him, and then to see Carlos's transformation since we've been here, to see how hard he's worked has been awesome. He's put in a lot of time, a lot of effort to change his body. Really, I mean, from the time we got here until now, he's in such good shape. He knows what we're trying to do, and I think he sees the opportunity ahead of him too. He's in the right scheme. Kyle knows how to run the ball, and we have a good offensive line, good fullback. Receivers who block their butts off, and I think he sees what's in front of him, and he's getting better each day too.
You have guys like DeForest and Armstead who are so tall.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to be aware of them being on the field and in there, just in terms of how high you need to get the ball?
I never really think of it in that term. I mean, if you start to think about D lineman when you're throwing, you're already behind the 8 ball. There's so much other stuff that goes into it. So, I mean, to me, it's sometimes you can tell when you're stepping up in the pocket, you can tell where people are, and you have to find a window to throw around them. Other times, if they aren't rushing hard and they're just sitting back, that's just the luck of the draw. That's part of their game. That's why you want big, tall D linemen, because they can get their hands up. But for me, I don't really ever take into account like, one guy's over there, one guy's over there. Usually, you can find a window in between them, around them. Sometimes you're thrown over the top of them anyway. So, if anything, it's more of a problem, when you're looking in an area to find a guy and you can't see him, because those, I call them the Twin Towers. They're just standing there, and like all I can see is the top of the helmets of some guys. So it's definitely tough having those big, tall defensive linemen in there.
That theoretically then make it easier when they're not in there, or when you're facing another team that doesn't have guys like that, because not many do.
You know what? Like I said, it's not something you go into the game thinking about. You go and you're going to play your game, and you're reading off coverage, you're reading off reads. If they get their hands up, then you just tell your linemen, hit them in the stomach when they get their hands up, and then they won't do it again. But we're not going to do that to our own team. So.
All right, you said in day one that you're excited about this camp because of your position, and you've been around enough to have a little bit of perspective. And I know it's early, but can you characterize how you feel about things after roughly this first week now?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's good to go in and not be wondering, okay, what reps am I going to get today? Who am I going to be? What center am I going to be with? What guys am I throwing to? To go out pretty much every day and know what the plan is and just focus on football, it makes it a lot easier. There's no doubt about it. So to take ownership over something, not have to worry about stepping on somebody else's toes, worry about anything like that, to take ownership and to be the guy in the huddle and command the offense, I think there is something to be said about that.
Pierre, I realize he's not getting hit in these practices, but he kind of lives over the middle on those routes, which a lot of wide receivers probably don't want to specialize in that. Is that unique in that to his toughness, just his ability to thrive over the middle?
I think, that's part of Pierre's game, and he knows it too, and that's why he's a tough, big, physical receiver. And, the good thing about Pierre is he does come through there hard. We've hit a few in cuts these past few days. One of them 2 days ago that he's coming roaring through there in the middle, and he catches and he takes off for a 60-yard touchdown because of the speed that he comes in there with. And I think, that's part of his game, and that's why I think I'm excited about it because, you know, when you get with Kyle, Kyle has a vision. And there's a vision for each player and what type of player that is. He had a vision for Pierre to be in this offense for that reason, because we do have routes to come across the middle, and we know that a guy like Pierre is going to come through there and not have any fear, catch the ball and break a tackle and go to the house. He's been that way since he got in the league. He's a fearless receiver, and as a quarterback, you love that because you know that you can get the ball to him in the middle, he's going to catch it, protect it, and take a hit, and sometimes even break it and go for the distance.
Matt was talking about yesterday that Kyle does not use wristbands. How much more of a challenge is that, or is that something you welcome?
It was a challenge my first year. I remember Johnny's first game, he got a wristband. I said, I've been playing 13 games, where was mine? So, no, but I think the way that, you know, being around Kyle, he's a unique play caller. And for him to, you know, put plays on a wristband, it would limit him. And now I understand that. And now having a better understanding of the offense, I don't need it. My first year, I would have loved it because it would have been a lot easier to get those play calls out. But now, with a better understanding and, you know, a full off season under my belt with a ton of reps going into training camp, hearing the play calls come in, I'm already starting to visualize what he wants. And, you know, unless there's like one of those like 18 worders in there, it's been pretty good.
So you would go into each week with the whole playbook is at your disposal. Is that right?
Well, I think you're going to, you know, Kyle's greatest strength is game planning what's going to attack the defense best. So, you know, we have a lot in this offense, and then you know what attacks the defense best, and you kind of narrow it down for that week. But, you know, for us, I always get nervous when we do these, you know, move the ball periods that are unscripted because you never know what might come out, because right now the whole offense is available. So it's like you got to be on your toes, and I can just tell my second time around being with him, you know, knowing, you know, when the play comes out from the headset into my ears, you know, I'm ready to call the play, knowing what he's looking for.
For a rookie like CJ, I mean, better question for him, obviously, but you have a sense if his head could be swimming, just because even for you,
sure. Oh yeah, I mean, there's probably you'd have to ask him, but I think the one thing CJ has going for him is he's one of the few quarterbacks that actually called plays from a huddle last year. You know what I mean? So he's used to having to call a play. Now, you know, there were arm signals from the sideline or whatever, but that's one thing that I think you can see CJ's used to having to get a play called in the huddle, as opposed to maybe a guy who, you know, just looks over the sideline, never has to say anything to the offense, and then goes and runs the play. I think if you were to come from a system like that and do this, you would be swimming no matter what you did, because to have to hear a play, repeat it, you know, break the huddle, and then remember all that, I could see it being tough.
Good.
Thanks.
Good, Brian.